Hello guys, how are you getting on? You're watching a very happy Aaron Kelly here this morning. Just woken up and Chelsea have beaten Arsenal by 4 goals to 1 in the Europa League final, and all I can say is, how has this happened? How have we got to the stage where we wanted Sarri's head back in the early stages of 2019, and now to end the season third and with a European trophy under our belts, and not only doing that, but ending Arsenal's hopes of getting back into the Champions League as well. Lads, last night was a very, very good night indeed. In this video I'm going to break it down and give my thoughts on it. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to first start off with, I suppose, the elephant in the room, I suppose, which was the incredibly strange atmosphere and not a nice atmosphere in the Olympic Stadium in Baku, and that's not Arsenal or Chelsea fans' fault. It's more down to UEFA not giving enough tickets to Arsenal and Chelsea fans, but whatever. It was also probably down to the fact that the pitch was about 7 miles away from the stand. Obviously doesn't help, and also doesn't help that, you know, with the whole Mkhitaryan situation, there was going to be a bit of sourness there, but the atmosphere in the game reflected how the game itself went. In the first half, it was dull, it was poor. Arsenal probably dominated the first 25 to 30 minutes of the game, and from then on until half time, it was just kind of each team not really being able to keep the ball, giving it back to the opposition at different times. It was scrappy, let's face it. It was poor in that first half. However, things changed massively in the second half, and can I say, boys, I know I made another wrong prediction. It was very wrong, alright? It was very wrong, but I don't care. I'll happily be wrong with how the rest of this game went. Chelsea came out of the blocks in the second half, absolutely flying, and took the lead about 5 or 10 minutes into the second half, when Emerson's cross was met by a brilliant header by Olivier Giroud, the man for the Europa League this season. I think it was his 11th goal in 15 Europa League games this season for the Blues, coming back to haunt Arsenal, who just fucked him out a year and a half ago. An absolutely unbelievable header to give Chelsea the lead, and Chelsea just completely just took off after that. It was only a couple of minutes later when we made it 2-0 thanks to Pedro, set up by Eden Hazard, and from that moment on it was the Eden Hazard show in what looks like being his last game for Chelsea, and we will get onto that in a minute. But we then won a penalty when Ainsley Maitland-Niles fouled Olivier Giroud. Hazard stroked the penalty home past Petr Cech in his final game as a professional footballer to give Chelsea a 3-0 lead, and at this point I was thinking, right, surely we are safe now. But he made 2 changes, Unai Emery did. He brought on Willock, the young man, and Alex Iwobi. And I mean, what an instant impact from Alex Iwobi, I gotta say. Absolutely incredible strike. Not very well defended by Chelsea, not well cleared, but it falls to him on the edge of the box, and he just rifles it into the far top corner past Aritza Balaga to make it 3-1. And this was in and around 20 minutes to go, and I was thinking, oh shit, we've been known to bottle a few things this season, haven't we? But it wasn't meant to be for Arsenal, as Chelsea grabbed the fourth through Eden Hazard getting his second lovely little link up between himself and Olivier Giroud, and that wrapped up the game. Chelsea won the trophy and Arsenal went home crying. I will say this, I have to feel bad for Arsenal fans that have travelled all the way to Baku. I mentioned it in my last video previewing this final, on how just the financial strain it would have on fans to even go to this final. You know, to get flights, get accommodation, get tickets, even with the, you know, the amount of them that was given out by UEFA. But yeah, an incredible night. There was a few downsides to this. Eden Hazard said after the game in a post-match interview, this looks like it is goodbye, and if it is his last game for Chelsea, which it looks like it is, what a fucking career Eden Hazard has had, and what a perfect way to end it. Taking this cup final by the absolute scruff of the neck, in typical Eden Hazard, fashioned best player in the Premier League, and for me, he's got to be in Chelsea's top 5 players of all time. I think you're looking at Lampard, Terry, Drogba, Cech, and Hazard. I think whatever order you want to put them 5 in, he's right up there. An absolutely incredible player. He's carried us at times, and God knows without him next season we could struggle. We could easily struggle badly, considering the fact as well that we have this transfer ban hanging over us as well. But yeah, an emotional but happy ending to Eden Hazard's Chelsea career. Another sad point of last night was it was Petr Cech's final game as a professional footballer, and unfortunately for him it ended in a crushing cup final defeat against his former team. But I gotta say, doesn't always get the credit he deserves. Quite possibly the best goalkeeper the Premier League has ever seen. Has won so many major honours with Chelsea. Obviously won the Premier League a couple of times, won the FA Cup countless amount of times, League Cups. He's literally won it all, and obviously massive role he played in that 2012 Champions League run in which we won the final against Bayern Munich. Obviously saved a penalty in extra time from Arjen Robben, and made what I thought was an important stop to keep out Schweinsteiger, which let Drogba with the chance to win the trophy for Chelsea all them years ago, and obviously then won the Europa League with Chelsea the following year. He's literally done it all, and he, as I mentioned, along with Hazard, is got to be in our top 5 best players of all time. But we got to talk a little bit about Arsenal in this game. They just didn't show up. And as I said, the first 25-30 minutes aside, Arsenal were shocking. Like, really, genuinely really bad. I think the way he set up, he probably was a bit negative. Unai Emery, he obviously played, how many defenders? 5, I think it was. I think it was Maitland-Niles, Koscielny, Socrates, Monreal and Kolasinac in a back 5 come, wing backs. Which Arsenal fans weren't very happy about, and I think they've a right to be like that in a cup final, to play that negative against a disjointed Chelsea side, especially after what happened the night before the final. I don't know if I mentioned it in the last video, probably I didn't, but Sarri storming off, a row between Higuain and David Luiz. It looked like a disjointed Chelsea dressing room, and you can understand why a Chelsea fan like myself had no real confidence going into the game. But yeah, it was just poor from Arsenal. The only player that I could say can really hold his head up high was Alex Iwobi when he came on. Like, even Aubameyang was non-existent. Mesut Ozil, like, you wouldn't even know he was playing. And I think a lot of Arsenal players have to look themselves in the mirror after this game and just think, what next? Like, genuinely, what next for us? And Unai Emery, of course, is coming under a lot of criticism as well, not only for last night's result, but the complete capitulation, I suppose, in the final 8 games of Arsenal's season, in which they kind of had, top 4 was there for them, and they threw it away. But it'll just be interesting to see now what happens there during the summer. Obviously, our Arsenal managers, as we know in the past, aren't always given the backing from Stan Kroenke. But Unai Emery's going to need some form of backing. He's going to need a lot of money in the transfer market to bring in top quality players, and players with a little bit of bottle to get Arsenal back to where they need to be. But a lot of Arsenal fans absolutely distraught, as you would be, for heading all the way over to Azerbaijan and just to come out with a thrashing defeat. But as for Chelsea, as I mentioned, it does look like this is Eden Hazard's final game for the club. What does the future hold for us as a club? Obviously, Maurizio Sarri's first season has ended quite well. He's finished 3rd, and he's won the Europa League. Incredible achievement to win his first ever major trophy as a manager. So obviously, massive congratulations to him. It still doesn't change what I said about him in the past, about him being, arrogant and playing players that, let him down and don't have what it takes a lot of the time. But looking at it now, our hands are kind of tied. It's kind of the way Solskjaer and Man United were when he started the first kind of 3 months of his reign as Man United manager, and you know he won a lot of games, won a lot of points, and got Man United rather back into the mix for Champions League. United's hands were kind of tied. They kind of had to give him the job. So with Chelsea, now I know the mentality with Abramovich and Chelsea is very different, and you know we've seen that over the years, that you can win a fucking FA Cup, you can win whatever, and it still might not, you know, mean you're the Chelsea manager next season. We've seen that with Antonio Conte last, but finishing third and with a Europa League title under your belt, it nearly does leave the board's hands tied. But as I've said, it's very much a revolving door at Chelsea Football Club. But that's the Europa League final out of the way. We now turn our attention, and it's grand now that I can relax and turn my attention to the other massive European final happening this week between two English teams, Tottenham and Liverpool. I'm not going to make a predictions video on that. I'm just going to make my, you know, verdict on it after the game. That'll probably be out Sunday or Monday next week. But yeah, I'm just absolutely delighted. But there is still a lot of uncertainty around the club. Obviously, it looks, as I said, Hazard looks like he's leaving. What will happen next at Chelsea Football Club, and what can we expect our goals to be for next season? Obviously, we have Champions League football back at the club. Can we possibly challenge Liverpool and City for a title? I know with this fucking squad it looks unlikely, but who knows? Who knows? It's a happy end to what was a strange season for Chelsea Football Club. But anyway, as I said, attention's turn to the Champions League final between Tottenham and Liverpool. Who is going to win that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. What's going to happen next at both Chelsea and Arsenal? What are the consequences for Unai Emery after a pretty average season as far as Arsenal are concerned? But yeah, that's all from me for now. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please do leave a like and subscribe if you're new with notifications on, and I will catch you later.